The $1,000,000 question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Your lifelines are out, and you can feel the little beads of sweat dripping down every vertebrae of your spine. The question is about pirates, and you don't know if the answer is A, or B, or C, or D, and everyone's waiting for your answer. So in case you're ever stuck in this situation, I'll tell you a little bit about pirates today. They all started in the 13th century BC, which is like 33,000 years, or 3,300 years ago, 3,300. And that's the earliest documented acts of piracy. Julius Caesar in 75 BC was kidnapped by Sicilian pirates and ransomed for 20 talents of gold. He joked around with them and said that he was worth 50 talents of gold. His people paid the ransom, and he was set free, later to go and attack the pirates himself and kill everyone on their ship. Later on, the next most known pirates were the Vikings from 783 AD to 1066 AD. They're the most widely known pirates, even though you don't always think of them as pirates because they're called the Vikings. And they reached the farthest on the map for any pirate group. They went from Western Europe to Northern Africa to Eastern Europe and all the way to Italy as well. Next is Japanese pirates. They had great marine and navigation skills, and you can see like these lines were their routes, and they went like all over the place, like stealing stuff and just being pirates. And they became stronger with the growing trade routes between like Europe and China and everything like that when the goods were traded. The most powerful fleets of Eastern Asia in the early 19th century were the Chinese pirates. By 1804, the most powerful Chinese pirate fleet was over 10,000 men strong. But later, the strength was crippled by starvation, opposition, and internal fighting around the 1820s. So even though their reign was short from 1804 to the mid-1820s, they were still the strongest pirate fleet that like anyone's ever seen. And the Chinese pirates have not been strong ever since. And because of the movies and everything, the most widely known pirates are probably from the Caribbean. Piracy in the Caribbean extends from 1560 to the mid-1720s. Most acts of piracy in this time were actions of rebellion to model frustration of trade colonization conflicts between the Newfoundlands in like America and the Caribbean and the European powers and government when like the kings and everyone was like telling everyone what to do over here. Most of the pirates in the Caribbean were either English, Dutch, or French. And most of the attacks were on Spanish colonies and Spanish empires and ships because Spain controlled most of the Caribbean at the time. Many times the attacks were on ships that were carrying Aztec gold from Mexico to Spain. The most famous Caribbean pirates you might have heard of before, Captain Edward Teach, most well known as Captain Blackbeard, lived from 1680 to 1718. He was the captain of the ship Queen Anne's Revenge, and he got that from, he was a helper, like one of the pirates under the captain